Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back for day 22, the first of our last week together with this particular round of We Rise, Purified Power. So we're moving on today to the fourth and final contaminant and its antidote. And for those of you who were able to listen in, pardon me, or to listen back to the recording of the conversation with Rod Stryker, one of the things that he reminded us is that whenever Patanjali creates lists, that the final thing on that list is usually the most subtle and the most potent, or the most challenging for us to overcome because of its subtlety, or just the most powerful. This is the case as well. Oh, there's Sophie. I don't know if you can see her. She's super pregnant in the background. This is the case as well with our four contaminants and their antidotes. Self-righteousness, or judgment of others who we label as less virtuous than we are. So again, it's not judgment around just everyday right and wrong, good and bad, what I want and what I don't want. That is sort of pre-programmed conditioning to help us navigate the world without too much hemming and hawing, if you will. This is a judgment specifically of those who we deem less than ourselves on a scale of virtuosity. Okay. The fourth contaminant that clouds the mind is self-righteousness. The antidote is practicing an attitude of non-judgment toward those classified as sinners. The concept of vice is more deeply ingrained in us than the concept of virtue. The concepts of sin and hell occupy more room in religious texts than the theories and practices that bring a positive change here and hereafter. Every religion, every culture has its own definition of sin, and even though these definitions are often childish, people take them very seriously. Further, the scope of sin and sinful acts is so broad that few people escape being stamped as a sinner by someone. We tend to associate with those whose beliefs and values are similar to ours. The desire to be recognized as a good person within our own group causes us to discover and highlight bad attributes in others. The search for sin and sinners becomes our primary focus, and the quest to know the truth is forgotten. If this tendency is not checked, our inner world grows steadily darker, and we eventually lose our capacity to comprehend true spiritual values. As a society, we have become addicted to condemning others on the ground of piety-driven differences. It is obvious that this has caused an enormous amount of pain, but what is not so obvious is the powerful negative effect this attitude has on our personal growth. As part of nature's design, we are more adept at seeing things outside us than within us. This makes it much easier to see a sinner outside us than to see the very element of sin within ourselves. We waste our time criticizing others. Our priority becomes correcting those we deem to be on the wrong path, rather than discovering our own source of peace and happiness. As a result, we begin walking backward. Patanjali tells us that to overcome this problem, we must stop judging those who, in the light of our personal beliefs, are sinful. The term for cultivating a non-judging attitude is upeksha. Although it is frequently translated as indifference, this is not what Patanjali means. Upeksha is a composite of upa, near, closely, and iksha, to see, and means to see closely or to see in the proper context. For example, theft and violence are generally regarded as sinful. The more poverty and illiteracy in a community, the more theft and violence there is likely to be. This does not mean the poor and illiterate are sinful. Practicing upeksha in relation to poor, illiterate people caught in the painful cycle of theft and violence means understanding them in their context. This enables us to see them as downtrodden fellow beings and to develop love and genuine compassion for them. Okay? The part that really stands out to me today is how we often take the easy route by identifying what we see as sinful or bad in others, rather than concentrating that energy and time into increasing our positive attributes. We instead allocate that time and energy into condemning others' negative attributes. And we see it all the time, everywhere. And we also are guilty of doing such things. So let's endeavor to correct that and reinvest our time and considerable energy into developing peaceful, joyful mind so that we can spread ripples of that in the world rather than additional negativity, condemnation, separation. Okay, let's do it. Make yourself comfy. We'll start with our recitations and go from there. Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshya Mamritat Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshya Mamritat Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshiyamamritat. Om Anupitraha Kritavoyantu Vishvato Taptaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yata Sadamit Vrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Om Anupadraha Kritavoyantu Vishvato Taptaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yata Sadamit Vrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Om Anupadraha Kritavoyantu Vishvato Taptaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yata Sadamit Vrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Adjust your posture in any way that leads to even greater steadiness and ease. Drop awareness into the space of the belly, and we'll rest awareness here for a little longer today. Noticing where we hold tension habitually. And uncoiling where we can. Is there anything we are afraid may occur if we are to soften just a little bit too much? If we're to let the guard down, to lower the walls? Is there any part of the self that we live in judgment of? Any part of the self that has been condemned and thrown into the dungeons of our psyche? Is it possible that there is a relationship between how we perceive those condemned aspects of the self and the ways in which we hold tension, micromanage, and live in a state of performative, production-driven hypervigilance? And is it possible that the ways in which we have judged and condemned ourselves are showing up in the ways that we regard other human beings outside of ourselves? No need to have answers. Questions are more than enough at the moment. So resolve to remain as genuinely effortless throughout the practice as you can. Staying soft in the belly, shift awareness upward to the space of the nostrils. And we'll remain here a little longer than usual. Concentrating awareness in the space of the nostrils allows the mind to be drawn precisely into the present moment. Right here, right now, here within the space of the nostrils where you're able to detect the breath. And now, the moment of that detection. Notice if the mind has a tendency to escape the present moment in preference of revisiting the past or anticipating the future. And rather than judging or condemning that tendency, see if it's possible to approach it with curiosity. Why might the mind be resistant to the present? What might it be trying to avoid or prevent? A few more breaths right here, right now. Draw awareness now to Agya Chakra. And remember the latent power that we can gain access to by becoming increasingly established at Agya Chakra. Buddhi Samvit. Viveka Shakti. The power of clear seeing. The ability to perceive and discern truth from untruth, real from unreal. To see life and memory in their proper context. Why might the mind try to avoid this power? What might it be afraid that it will see, remember, experience anew again? Or perhaps what behaviors or beliefs might be called into question? What attachments and aversions and identifications might the mind be asked to release when it is faced with the light of truth. Be gentle and tender with yourself as you pose these questions. Notice if any tension has crept back into the belly. Notice if you can still detect presence of the breath in the nostrils. And notice how content the mind is to remain oriented at Agya Chakra. Prepare for Nadi Shodhana. We'll engage with the techniques of Vishoka meditation stage 1 today. When you're ready, inhale through both nostrils evenly. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. In left. Out right. Now inhale right. Exhale left. In right. Out left. In right. Out left. Inhale left. Out right. In left. Out right. In left. Out right. Rest the hand. Effortless breath through both nostrils evenly. The belly is soft. Nostrils are sensitive. And Agya Chakra is open to the light of discernment with a willingness to see clearly. Vishnu Mudra once again. Inhale through both nostrils. Exhale left. In right. Out left. In right. Out left. Inhale left. Out right. In left. Out right. In left. Out right. Inhale right. Out left. In right. Out left. In right. Out left. Release the hand, effortless breath through both nostrils evenly. Notice the places in the body and in the mind where you are controlling, and let it go. Draw awareness back to Agya Chakra. Remain here for a few breaths and invite a furthering of the union between awareness and prana, or perhaps a union of mind and breath. Give the mind, give awareness the opportunity to recognize, to remember that the breath, prana, is its primordial companion. And that if it can soften just enough, it will recognize that there is nowhere else it would rather be than at home in the space of the body, in the company of the breath, prana. Experience this union now at the forehead center for one breath. Eyebrow center. In the space of the eyes. Nostrils. Throat center. shoulders, upper arms, elbows, wrists, palms of the hands, fingertips, 2 breaths, palms, wrists, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, throat center, heart center, base of the sternum, navel center, pelvic center, perineum, 2 breaths. Notice where you're controlling and let it go. Pelvic center, navel, base of the sternum, heart center, throat center, nostrils, eyes, eyebrow center, forehead center, Agya Chakra, 3 or 4 breaths here. As prana and awareness enjoy one another at Agya Chakra, notice if there is a different sense of contentment within and around the space of the body, a feeling akin to being home, if home is where you are the most comfortable, the most safe, the most at ease. If home is not all of those things, then allow the body to be, at least right here and right now. Moving into Samikarana with inhale, prana and awareness together, rise to Sahasrara Chakra. And with exhale, descend through Sushumna Nadi more or less, through each sacred space, each chakra, reaching perineum without pause. Inhale and ascend. We'll continue with these oscillations for several more breaths, engaging the effortless effort to maintain a smooth, steady flow of pranashakti, even as it pierces each chakra along that path. No need to pause, no hitch or hiccup. Truly effortless ascent and descent. Establishing an inclusive continuum. Notice where there is tension related to effort or control and let it go. One more oscillation like this. And with the next inhale, ascend just above and beyond Sahasrara Chakra. Exhale down through Sahasrara, through Agya, through the eyebrow center, inner corners of the eyes and nostrils out to the 0 point. And from 0 point, inhale and ascend through the nostrils, inner corners of the eyes and eyebrow center to Agya Chakra. 3 or 4 more breaths between Agya Chakra and the 0 point, flowing through this specific pathway. As unobstructed as possible. Again, notice where you're controlling and let that impulse to control go. These oscillations will continue between 0 point and Agya Chakra. Just bring a heightened sensitivity to the inside of the nostrils. Giving special attention to the ways in which this space influences the quality of pranashakti. Now a heightened sensitivity at the inner corners of the eyes. Similarly, continuing to oscillate between Agya and 0 point. Curious about the influence the inner corners of the eyes has on the quality of pranashakti. Heightened sensitivity now at the eyebrow center. Again, what is the unique quality of this space and its impact on the experience of pranashakti? And finally, a heightened sensitivity at Agya Chakra itself, with 4 or 5 more oscillations between Agya Chakra and the 0 point. Each oscillation flowing smoothly through the eyebrow center, inner corners of the eyes and nostrils. And similarly, nostrils, inner corners of the eyes and eyebrow center on the ascent. Notice where you are controlling and let it go. Finally, with inhale, come back once again to Agya Chakra and resolve to remain here. Similarly, resolve to remain open to any and all ways in which Prana Shakti expresses itself in this space. Maintain smooth, steady, effortless breath. And continue to perceive any and all impressions that may or may not arise with clarity, free of feeling, free of attachment, free of meaning. Pure, clear seeing. Notice where awareness may have wandered off. Any thought constructs that may be currently occupying the mind. And then notice the response or reaction to that recognition. Let the reaction go and simply draw awareness back to Agya Chakra. Enjoy a few breaths here. And once again, notice where there may be residual tension related to efforting or a desire to control experience or outcome. And again, soften and let go. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart, pressing the palms gently but firmly. And if you'd like, bow the head to the heart, utilizing this clarified perspective to see, to know, to recognize the contents of the heart without assigning them meaning. And feel free to rub the palms together. Place the palms wherever you'd like for another breath or two. Let the eyes blink open and come back to the outside world. Go ahead and reach for your journals. If you'll be able to see this, but it's pretty sweet. Yeah, you can see Sophie and Finny. And Sawyer. Okay. Take a moment just to note down any experiences that you may have had with an inclination to control. In what ways are you trying to control your experience of meditation? And why do you suppose you may be doing that. What are you trying to avoid, specifically in your experience of meditation, through these efforts to control? And what do you suppose you might be blocking as a result? What are your efforts to control actually blocking? Bye, Jesse. I love you. Have a good day. And is there any correlation to these efforts to control your meditation practice and the ways in which you may try to control aspects of your life? What are you afraid might happen if you stop trying so hard? And then, is there any relationship between your desire to control and that which you condemn? Got a head nod from Helen. Me too. Is there any relationship between your desire to control and that which you condemn? And it may also be interesting to look at that from a more like societal or global perspective. Systems of oppression, for example, what are they trying to control? And is there the element of condemnation, judgment at play? very often on a societal level, there's a chicken or egg conundrum around that. Are we trying to control because we have condemned, or are we after the fact condemning because we are so invested in control? Okay, I'm going to turn my heater on and then I'll be back and I don't have to run off today. So we can chat. Up first. She's so cute. I can't handle it. She's totally stretched out. Her big old belly is producing so much heat now that she can only be held for so long and she can only lay on her belly for so long. So she has to like use, you know, air conditioning, if you will, cooling systems of just like stretching out. Any insight? What do we think? Does anyone try to control their meditation experience? No, not at all, Steph. I'm sure. I totally believe you. In what ways do we start to control? How can you feel that in your body or even feel it in your, like the quality of your mind when that starts to kick in?
I feel like tightness in the belly, holding in the belly, like trying to hold everything in. And I was just surprised every time you said like let go of control. I'm doing it again. I'm sure you could have said it 100 more times and I would have every time been controlling in some way. Um, yeah, and also the my breath that I'm not letting it be completely spontaneous.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the club. Every time I said it, I also had noticed, oh, there's the tightness in the belly again. Yeah. And it's something I'm super conscientious of. And yet it still sneaks in. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Any felt sense of that control? Go ahead, Steph.
For me, it's the quality of the breath where I'm trying to make the breath happen. I'm trying to make the breath and prana go a certain direction or, um, yeah, almost forcing it this way and that way rather than letting prana lead
Mm-hmm.
or like really um, getting tense around the points that we visit. Like, okay, I gotta find the sweetness at the inner corners of the eyes. Where is it? Like kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And does it make it easier to find the sweetness?
No, of course not.
Yeah. And do you when I say something like, notice where you're controlling and let it go, are you able to let it go?
Sometimes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's kind of hit or miss. So, like the how as to how do I let it go, that is not quite clear yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think will happen if you stop trying so hard?
I think nothing will happen. I won't get anywhere. If I don't make it happen, nothing will happen.
Mm-hmm. Both in practice and in life, I'm guessing.
Of course.
Yeah. 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 So it's more risky to let go of control in the outside world. It's less risky to play with that in our meditation practice. So this is a good opportunity for you to really play with that in even in just selecting specific moments in meditation. Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to completely let go of control and see if everything stops. Does it totally stop? Or what else might happen? What could potentially happen, Steph, if you were able to let go of that control?
That things might actually turn out better, both in life and in meditation, than I could ever orchestrate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I read something really cool yesterday that I just wanted to share briefly before I have to run off. It sort of fits what we're talking about here. I don't know, well, I don't remember who that person was, but I read it on Instagram and I can look it up. And they said something like, with Easter coming up, everybody wants the resurrection and the transformation, but nobody wants those 3 days in the tomb where like nothing happens, where it's just pitch black and you don't see how you're going anywhere and you don't know if that moment of resurrection is ever coming or if this is just it. And that was yeah, that kind of stuck with me. I'd have to reread it again to find the exact words, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the darkness of the unknown and uncertainty. And I would imagine as like a human being in that moment, like someone that was potentially in relationship with, yeah, no expectation of resurrection, because I don't think resurrection was necessarily something that they expected.
Yeah, exactly.
and the, uh, and so they were just in the throes of grief and probably anger and all of the things. And I think likely some people were so attached to their grief and their anger that they probably missed the moment of resurrection as well. Yeah. Not to get all theological, using this as symbolic. Yeah.
I'll see if I
Yeah.
can find that post and I'll send it to you so you can read what they exactly said.
You shared it though. You shared it well. I get it. And yeah, it's being in that space of the unknown. Is this it? Am I going to be stuck here forever? Nothing's happening, but everything's happening. It's just behind some sort of a veil. We can't necessarily see it or perceive it, and it's entirely out of our control. Yeah. Like those weeks, sometimes months after a seed has been planted, and it's just down there in the dark, often damp soil, hopefully getting just enough water and just enough warmth coming through from the sun. And then it's really painful, I think, for the seed because it has to be cracked open in order for little tendrils of root to reach down and a little sprout to start to reach up. And it has to be willing to no longer be a seed in order to become a plant. So, like, all of that is so symbolic. And the seed probably has no idea what's happening. It's just stuck down there in the soil for weeks or months at a time. And then it has to be completely transformed into something else in order to fulfill its purpose in life. And it's beyond its control. I'm sure if the seed could choose, it would decide to stay a seed forever. Not all the seeds, some of them. Some of them would be like, happy seat packet at the nursery, please. I don't want to go anywhere. This is comfortable. Some of the other seeds were like, no, dude, there's more to life than this. Gotta just trust and let go and let it happen.
Okay,
We're
I'm gonna
those
go.
seeds. Okay. Bring that
Uh,
into your podcast.
I'll
Noted.
try. Not sure if it fits the theme,
If
but
it
yeah.
fits, if it fits everything, I think.
Okay, good.
Have fun.
See you Thursday. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, love. So I think the most important question for today, or the most interesting, I would say, for me, is there a relationship between that which we try to control and that which we condemn? And if so, what might that be? Can you notice any connections? You're nodding a lot, Helen, so it feels like you've got some kind of connection. Raga and Devesha. Yeah, raga being that which we find pleasurable or affirming and are thus attached to it and never want to let it go. And Devesha, there are a couple of ways to understand Devesha as that which we are averse to, but it's still a form of attachment because we are attached to our aversion. We're addicted to not wanting that thing and being in a constant state of pushing it away. And Panditji describes it as the addiction to having an enemy. Yeah. And both of those, what we are attached to and what we are addicted to being averse to, are signs and symptoms of our self identity. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Helen.
Yes, so I made an interesting link between the fact that I find it difficult to soften in meditation, but also in life in general. Feeling like I'm holding in things tight, like I need to be hard in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a link between that and sometimes condemning people in the outside world or groups of people that I consider to be too soft. And I sometimes have ideas like, oh, get a grip, or, just get on with it, grow a pair, like these kinds of things. So yeah, there's there's definitely a link
Mm-hmm.
with that, which is
Yeah.
interesting to
Yeah.
unpack.
And without becoming a therapist, just something for you to contemplate. Was there messaging in your childhood around, yeah, needing to be tough and don't show your feelings or don't feel anything at all or anything along those lines? Yeah. Yeah. And often that messaging comes when we're in a moment of what is being condemned. So if we're in a moment of softness, if we're in a moment of vulnerability, we're in a moment of feeling big feelings, and then some sort of authority figure that we respect in some way tells us that it's not okay to be that way. It's not okay. You can't be that way. You must be this way instead. Then we internalize that condemnation and we say, Helen, you cannot be soft. You must be strong. And because we've internalized the condemnation, we condemn the parts of ourselves that are soft. The only way to sustain that really is to also condemn it outside of ourselves. If it's not okay for me, it's not okay for you either. I must have these rigid rights and wrongs in order to make sense of the world, in order to justify my own suffering, the suffering that comes from not allowing myself to be soft. Yeah. And we all have our version of that, often several. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. I saw something come through the chat. Attachment is attachment to certainty, controlling, predicting an outcome. And again, what do you think you are trying to avoid in that by trying to force some sort of certainty or force a particular outcome? What's the alternative to that you're trying to avoid? Being in the unknown, yeah. And what fear is there of the unknown? Just going a little deeper, a little deeper, a little deeper. What exists? Loss of control. And what happens if you're not in control? Nothing. So similar to Steph, nothing will happen. There will be stagnation, and then you'll just be stuck in the unknown forever. For me, a lot of it is a fear of chaos, like the wheels falling off the bus completely and just like everyone and everything spinning out. And that totally comes from like my childhood of, my parents, there was a lot of tension, but they pretended that there wasn't for a very long time. And we had to maintain that ruse that everything was fine for as long as possible. And then my mom did succumb to chaos. And once the chaos was acknowledged, the wheels fell off the bus and my entire world fell apart. And that chaos was so unsettling that for much of my life, I have done everything in my power to avoid that happening again. Yeah. But I've also unconsciously sought out increasingly chaotic situations. My dating life, I always dated the most chaotic people possible and then tried to control them.
When I said nothing, I think I meant like nothing's gonna happen
Nothing
in
bad.
a,
Yeah.
a good way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's like, yeah, if I don't control something, then I can't know, and I kind of love that now. Um, yeah, it's taken me a while to get here, but like, yeah, I'm in a really good space with all of that actually, where I don't like when I feel like I'm controlling something anymore. And I immediately kind of go, okay, just let go, just like just trust, And I think bhakti and yeah, bhakti, just devotion has helped to work with that surrender.
Yeah.
Uh, but I relate to what you shared there about your parents and stuff. Mine would have are the same. They have not yet acknowledged the awfulness and the yeah discomfort, and I don't know if they ever will, because there's such fear there of the unknown for them as well, that they just pack everything in, or like they try to control everything and make it look and seem perfect. And yeah, when I'm there, it just feels so awful because I can just feel how untrue it all is. So maybe there's something in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Likely. Yeah. I like the correlation you're making with bhakti in terms of a way to heal this desire to be in control. Can you talk about that more? Why that is helpful? What is the bhakti giving you?
Yeah, so it's kind of, I suppose, like Ishwara Pranidhana, like the is like trustful surrender.
Mm-hmm.
It's really an invitation into that,
Mhm.
to be in relationship to the unknown as the divine, kind of. Do you know, like, because when I think of like what is the unknown, or what is that big vast energy that we are communing with when we practice, and it's the goddess, it's God, it's, it is the unknown. um and I think coming into relationship with that through mantra and through bhakti, it's just more, I don't know, it's just like you've got me kind of a feeling, like it's okay. I can surrender what's there, and I don't need to figure it all out. um and it's okay not to know. It's kind of more self-compassion as well. I have a lot more self-compassion than I used to. um I used to be very hard on myself if I got things wrong, or you know all of that. And I think it's a combination of bhakti, and then just more self-awareness. That's like, okay, yeah, I can't know everything, and that would be weird. I'm not a robot. I actually want to be more human than than a robot. And yeah. I don't know if that answers that question.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I I would say that my experience has been similar, and I approach bhakti in a slightly different way. I love kirtan. I love to chant. Um, but I think for me the bhakti, and not but, because you might be also experiencing this, the bhakti feels like a every moment of every day interaction of
Mm.
cultivating and tending relationship with the divine in everything that I'm doing. The way that I love my animals is an expression of my love for the divine. And the way that I
Yeah.
receive their love back is an expression of the love of the divine. And just this constant two-way street of love flowing freely.
Mhm.
And I think being in relationship in that way becomes something tangible that you can start to place trust in.
Yeah.
And also the way that I experience prana feels like love. That's bhakti. So my meditation every morning is bhakti. I show up so that I can relate in a tangible way to the divine and just pour all of my awareness into that relationship for that period of time. Nothing else is more important than being with the divine through my breath, through my awareness, through all the sensations, the lack of sensation, whatever it happens to be. And then that constant, continuous dipping in, dipping in, dipping in creates relationship. And at least in my experience, if there's no relationship, it's very difficult to cultivate trust. Trust in what?
Mm. Yeah. It's the repetition,
Yeah.
uh, like tending any relationship, I
Yeah.
think. And
And if we,
sorry, go on.
no, you go ahead.
I was just Raisin's meowing at the window. I might just let him in.
Go ahead. I was going to say that continuity, consistency is a key ingredient in developing trust. With human beings, with the world, with anything. If someone is showing up with consistency, then we will start to be able to trust them. And if they're showing up in the same way, more or less, with regularity, then we'll start to trust it, even if they're showing up as harmful with consistency. That will feel safer to our nervous system than someone who shows up as loving 5 days out of the week and harmful 2 days out of the week, but we don't know which 2 days. The lack of continuity breaks our ability to trust, which I think is one of the reasons why continuity is so highly recommended in our spiritual endeavors, in our meditation, because we are trying to develop a relationship that can lead to trust. And it ends up being trust in ourselves that we do what we say we're going to do. And also trust in this developing interaction with, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's have you listened to the Emerald podcast? It's like
What
it's
is it
everything.
called?
The Emerald.
Emerald. Okay.
So he kind of looks at the intersection between spirituality, mythology, and animism. And I remember just writing down a quote from it before, and he said, "Everything in the universe likes to be appreciated." And I just really loved that. It was just like, it's like really speaking to the aliveness of everything, which is
Yeah.
tantra as well to me. It's like everything has a consciousness, and yeah, like even just leaving offerings at a temple or offerings at a site, it's like there's an aliveness there, there's an interaction that
Mhm.
I feel when we try to control things, we lose a little bit, we lose sight of that,
Mhm.
that there's like we wouldn't try to control another person. It's easy to see like how that would be problematic, if we were trying to control another person. But when it comes to like the land or the environment and we're like trying to control and chop and, put boundaries on everything, and it's like, no, but that's alive too. And,
And we try to control other people every day
I
in
know.
in a myriad ways. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
I do it with my fiance. I try to control him every day. I want him to show up in a specific way to meet my needs.
Mm.
It's something I'm aware of because I'm trying to not be that way. But it is definitely, and that is also an outgrowth of the lack of control I felt in my childhood,
Mm. Mhm.
that I've invited in a
Yeah,
certain degree of chaos and now I'm going to try to control it.
I know. I mean, I relate. Any relationship I've been in has been like the same.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Raisin.
Hello.
Hi, Raisin. And
He want cuddles. He's all wet.
mommy, I'm cold and I'm wet. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I still do it too.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And the things that I condemn in my fiance are the things that make me feel, these are reactions. Thumbs up. Okay, fine. Are the things that uh, inspire an experience of chaos for me. And then I condemn the things in him that make me feel like,
I really
you
relate to
know.
that. Yeah. I've found myself judging people who I perceive to be chaotic
Mhm,
as well. Like I do feel like that's something that really just makes me go, whoa, it's
mhm,
hard for me to get my head around because I've
mhm.
just not let myself go there so
Yeah,
often.
yeah. And I think anyone who knows Jesse would not describe him as chaotic because that's not actually his demeanor. There are just some little habits that make me terrified, if I'm being honest, of like the chaos that could come as a result. And
Mm.
so I just like my hypervigilance kicks in and I try to micromanage when I'm in an anxious space.
Yeah.
Amazing. When I came home from India, I was just like, you do you, babe. I was in such a good space. And I am still, so that I'm able to recognize when the, impulse to control kicks in. Um, and that's a gift of devoted practice as well. We're that much more aware of the ways in which we are obstructing our own experiences of trust and beauty and joy and
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. I've just started to see it all as relationship, really. It's just like a web, like even
Mhm.
community and
Yeah.
how well we relate to others in that. And
Mhm.
I actually I broke a big pattern at the weekend. Uh I I basically yeah, I told somebody that I'm interested in that I like them. And it was like he was like, "Oh, it's mutual." I was like, "Oh." Okay.
Look at that. Putting yourself out there and getting
And
what
it
you
was like
want
a
as a
really,
result.
it was a really big moment for me. Just even before he responded, I was like, I don't care what he even says. I just need to say this because I just really was like, I need this to not be in my head anymore. And my pattern is not to say things and just assume that something's going to happen or assume that they know or, and I just was like, no, I need clarity. I want clarity. And yeah, that felt big. But now there's like this piece of I can't I don't know what's going to happen. It's just been said and it's acknowledged. And we're like, okay, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're in the tomb right now, as Steph pointed out. Of like, and now what?
It's a little
Something
bit of
big
a,
has
like
happened.
a trust game of like, let's just go slowly because we've said that and like, yeah, there's lots of different factors, but like it's just trusting. Just
Yeah.
so much trust is required right now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And
Mm,
yeah. And trust also in yourself that no
mm,
matter what the outcome, you're going to be totally fine.
mm. Yeah, I when I before I sent the message, I was like journaling furiously and I wrote again and again and again and again down the page. I have the capacity to be with the truth of things. I have the capacity to be with the truth of things, whatever that truth is. I'm able for it. And that really helped.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the trust as well for me, a huge part of it is that there are so many elements beyond my ability to perceive, but the divine sees it all.
Mm.
And if something is given to me to enjoy, even just briefly, the best reaction I can have is to say thank you. And if something is taken from me, even if it's something I thought I wanted desperately, the best reaction I can have is to say thank you. And to just trust that this is all working out in my favor. I may
Mm.
not see it, I may not understand it, it may be painful in the moment, but I do get to determine how much pain and suffering there is based on how much I try to control it and how attached I am to a particular outcome. If I can relinquish some of that control and instead just say, well, clearly that was not meant for me. So, what is? Yeah. And we can do the same thing in our practice. This isn't happening the way I think it's supposed to. Well, what wants to happen instead? Everyone told me I'm supposed to see light when prana shakti is gathered. I don't see any light. What's wrong with me? I must be broken. But I have this really tangible sense of presence. That's interesting. But that can't be prana because they told me it was light. So stop feeling presence. Start feeling light.
Yeah. Trusting the individual experience or, yeah, the individual expression of Shakti.
Yeah, we all have our own unique relationship with the divine. We are all unique expressions of the divine. And so we're going to experience her differently.
Mm.
Him, her, it, they, even that will be unique to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anything else coming through that anyone wants to say? I'll say one last thing because it has to do with the cat. Elena was on a call when this happened. It was in the afternoon during one of the We Rest sessions in January. And little Sophie, who's maybe approaching a year old right now, was in heat for the first time. And we had been trying to tell the guy who owns the cabins, like, she's at that age, she's going to go into heat like any day now. Like, we really need to go get her spayed. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Then, like 2 days after we had that conversation with him, she went into heat. And I was determined not to let anything happen to her. And so I kept her locked in the house and, got a litter box so that she could just go to the bathroom inside and she was not allowed to go outside. And of course, she wanted to go outside more than anything. And at one point, I sat down to teach and she was up here on the bed asleep. And then my other cat, he's welcome to go in and out as much as he wants. And so I kept the door open for him to be able to go in and out. And I sat down, she was asleep. I was like, this will be fine. And I was chatting, and then they're fighting over the cozy bed on the floor right now. I looked over and she wasn't there anymore. And I just had this moment of panic. And so I was like, you guys, Sophie's not here. She might be outside. So I'm supposed to be teaching Yoga Nidra. And instead I'm running outside, like running through the field. And I see Sawyer just sitting in the field. And then there's this black and white cat that has been creepily lingering. Now I've assigned the definition or the adjective of creepy to this guy. I literally call him Creepy Pete. And in my mind, he's the bad guy when he's really just a cat with testicles that, nature is telling him there's a female in my general proximity that is in heat, and my dharma is to make babies with her. So he's not creepy. He's just a male cat with testicles. Anyhow, in my mind, he's Creepy Pete. He's a predator and he's coming after my sweet, innocent little baby cat. And I ran out there, and sure enough, they were doing it. And so I'm like yelling and clapping, and like I chase him off and I chase her back in. And Sawyer's just looking at the whole thing like, what is going on? Because Sawyer does not have testicles. So he's very confused by the whole situation. And I chased Sophie back into the house, and then I kept her locked in the rest of the time. But that like 10-minute window was enough. And she got pregnant. And now she's pregnant. And a few days ago, I got to take her to the vet because we had to figure out how pregnant she is, because we are adopting her and we're bringing her home with us because she's definitely part of the family. But with travel, like we didn't want to put her in a precarious situation if she's going to like, have babies while we're driving or something like that. So we went to the vet, and I will most likely never have children of my own. Like I'm not going to make babies in my belly. I think I'm 45 now, and like that ship has probably sailed, and I'm really okay with it. But there was something pretty magical about holding my cat, like literally holding her on my belly, exposing her belly as she was getting an ultrasound, and then like looking over at the screen and seeing the little kittens moving inside of her belly. And I was just like, whoa. I tried so hard to prevent this from happening, but this is magical. This is so cool. And now I get to make sure that she stays as safe as she can possibly be, that she's got all the warmth, all the food, all of the protection that she needs in order to have these babies. And then we will go and get her spay after that so that she can go back to just being a kid again. But I now get to have this pretty miraculous experience of like giving birth in a way and like caring for tiny little babies that I wouldn't have had if I had let my, connotation around predator, Creepy Pete, bad, if I had let that win the day, then, so sometimes we just have to say, nature's nature. Let me stop trying to control everything and enjoy the magic and the beauty in what is, not what I think should be. Yeah.
Yay, kittens.
Yay, kittens. I know. I'm pretty excited. She only got impregnated by one cat. Did you know that cats can be impregnated by multiple males while they're in heat? That's one of the reasons why, like, they might have like a Siamese kitten and then like a pure black kitten. And
I didn't realize that. Wow.
yeah, different eggs are inseminated by semen from different cats. And the more times that they are impregnated, the more kittens they will have. And so she's only having 4, which I think is good because she's still tiny.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't got him neutered yet. I feel bad, but I think I will.
It's better for them, their health as well. They'll live longer, healthier lives if they are
Yeah. I think
sterilized.
if I had a girl, I would probably do the same as you and just let her have like one round maybe, and then. But like you have a boy, you don't get to see the kittens really. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, it does, like with kittens, it does put her in danger having kittens. So I would have preferred to prevent it, but since I wasn't able to, I'm just going to enjoy every moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are more susceptible to like kitty breast cancer when they're not sterilized. And I think the males have something similar to that. They don't live as long, and as healthy of a life. Do your own research though, because I've only done a little bit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely wish that these kittens were Sawyer kittens. That would be so cute to have little Sawyers running around because I'm obsessed with Sawyer. But part of the adoption process for him was we were adopting him from an island that is overrun by feral cats. And so they do not allow you to adopt the cat before it has been sterilized. Yeah. Yeah. Which, especially in that context, I'm in support of because the lifespan for the cats on that island is like 2 years. It's just not conducive.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's like perspective, looking at things within the proper context. Yeah. Right and wrong are not black and white. And for a lot of people, that ambiguity is very uncomfortable. It's easier for us to have right and wrong, black and white. And really, it's just a rainbow, not even just shades of gray. All righty. With that, I will let you go. And I'm going to go hang out with my babies.
You do.
Yeah. And we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye, Raisin. Bye, Raisin.
You're sleeping well. Bye.
Bye.